Brittany Vihenna Griffith. I teach 4-year-old pre-K in Santa Fe Public Schools in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I am our buildings lead teacher.
I am Tara Hughes. I am a 4Y preschool teacher. I teach an inclusion classroom. I am the school's contact teacher, which means that I support teachers with special education questions and writing IEPs.
For the pandemic, I could have 18 4-year-olds in my classroom at one time. We cap 6 IEP students, and then the rest are typical peer models.
So my class is very similar to Brittany's. I can have up to 20 kids.
Lots of learning through play, cooperative learning with our peers and talking with one another, lots of questions being posed and then exploring to find the answers. It was fun.
It's very similar to Brittany's. It's play-based, lots of exploring, a lot of collaboration, working together, which will be really interesting to see, how we continue all of that in a pandemic.
We started this fall all in remote learning, meaning that all 18 kiddos are at their homes learning from an iPad that was provided by the school district. Myself and my 2 EAs are on our computers guiding whole and small group instruction daily with our kids.
Even though we knew we were going remote, we knew that what we needed to do was really include all of our students and scaffold and modify and lesson plan and come up with ideas so that all of our students were included in the learning. And so when we planned our small groups, we looked at it and we balanced it. So that way we knew this student needs to have strong models who can model that language in answering and asking questions, initiating conversation, back and forth conversation with the teacher and with peers. We've implemented schedules, so it shows what's coming first, what's coming second, what's coming last to help those students who need those visuals. I've been trying to use a lot of visuals where I hold visuals up so I can kind of see like their eye tracking, right? Like I'm trying to look at that, or I'll ask questions for kids who might need to point to a screen. So that way they're able to answer questions and they have those visuals to guide them. There's some kids who are really great drawers and that's a strength, but their language might not be there. So we listen to the song Matman and then the kids draw Matman. And so adding in that other kind of component of, having them show us what they know in different ways. I'm trying to rely less on the parents' support in answering those questions. And so I'm trying to learn how to modify my instruction and how to bring what I use in the classroom and make it digital because it's so based on language. Remote learning relies heavily on that back and forth communication.
I think the social emotional component, the fact that that is really our focus right now, I think is also really showing us how important that is to inclusion. I had a kiddo who started this school year completely under a blanket. He had his blankie with him. I couldn't get it off of his head to see him. And I think in this setting, the language disparities, you can definitely see it more. And I think our kids can feel it and they don't feel as included if they can't participate verbally. And so really working on things that we could do receptively, or I might be moving Mr. Potato Head pieces on my green screen and he didn't need the language so much to participate with that, where I could say, look at his face and how do you feel? Can you show me on your face? All of a sudden he could participate even though he didn't have the words. He slowly started coming out from under his blanket. So really working on the social emotional component so that they can still participate. I've had to be more intentional about setting up a time once a week to talk with my related service providers and say, like, here's what I'm seeing. What are you seeing? What are things that are working for you? So my speech therapist has been really great in supporting me. I do have some students who are not only getting services for special ed, but they also are English language learners. My EA is bilingual, but also our speech language therapist is bilingual. So she's been helping me. I tell her, I don't know if it's the remote setting. I don't know if it's the language barrier right now. And so she's been giving me ideas on things that I can do to help support or giving me background too, because a lot of these kids she had last year in the 3-year-old program. And so she can tell me, here's what they were working on last year. And I can just kind of pick up where that went off. Also, our OT set up a group time to do some sensory supports with kids right before Tara and I go into whole group, so that our kids are a little bit better able to regulate their systems. And so I do think that helps support them in being successful at sitting and regulating their bodies while we're doing whole group, and then they can participate with their peers.
In the classroom, when we're in our whole group circle, I know Brittany and I both use differentiated seating. So I have kids sometimes who sit in laundry baskets or cube chairs or chairs with backs. And so it depends on what they need. And we noticed that these students were having a hard time sitting at a couch with a tray table in front of them. So I picked up cube chairs from the school and dropped them off at their house. So that way the kids had a spot to sit in and to learn. And so it defined their sitting area, and it definitely has helped their focus in attending. So supporting families and helping their kids attend.
So I'm seeing inclusion from two sides, because my daughter is also a student in our school and she receives OT and PT services. You know, I'm a special education teacher. I know this stuff. I work with these related service providers. I have ideas when a kid is not doing what they should be, gross motor, fine motor. My husband, on the other hand, doesn't really know. He's known that our daughter has fine motor delays and he knows that she struggles. But the first week that I was in the office working with my students and he was playing teacher with my daughter, he had no idea really how hard her fine motor was. She's got congenital hand mirroring motor movement disorder. So her hands do the exact same thing. No matter what she does with this hand will do the exact same. So that makes it hard to hold your paper down and write. So he definitely knew, he was aware of it, he could see it. But when the OT is asking her to hold her paper down and draw, and he's watching the different things that the OT is having her try and hold a ball while she's drawing so that she gets that different input and the ball keeps dropping, he just depressed is the best way I can say he felt, because he had never really seen her struggle. So from that aspect, he's just like, I need her to go back to school. I need her to get quality, and her teacher is fabulous. I steal from her teacher all the time. It's fun that I get an inside look of other classrooms now, where I've never been able to just walk in and see how she teaches. But my husband just said, I am not a therapist, and I want her to go get that quality therapy, because, you know, time is limited to try and get her caught up before going to kindergarten and having to really truly learn to write. So yeah, I was like, get me back in the classroom, because if we're feeling this way, and I should be prepared to help my daughter and know the things to do to support her, and I'm struggling because I'm working full time and trying to be OT and PT and teacher to her as well, how do these other parents feel? Where I have students that have even greater needs. So get me back in the classroom and let me be a relief to those parents and also to the kids, so that I can truly feel like I'm supporting them.
Working with Brittany and collaborating with her makes me also feel like I can do it, because it's such a hard thing. I can't do this alone. And so having her next to me in that room and like being able to text her and call her and collaborate, like, it's making my adventure so much easier and so much more fun, because I'm learning every day from her. I hope she's learning from me. It's just a great collaboration.
I've needed a lot of therapy time throughout this, and that's, Tara's my therapist. I mean, there are times when she says, Brittany, it's okay, you can do this, and gets me out of my funk and makes me enjoy what I'm doing again. And let's come up with some fun way. I never would have thought that teaching with a green screen could be so much fun.
I should say in the beginning of the year, I was reflecting all the time, and I was like, this isn't working. I'm not happy. This is awful. I'm not teaching these kids anything. Like, what am I doing? And for me to reflect right now back on what we just talked about, I was like, it's not that bad. Like, it is working. I am accommodating my students. I am differentiating. I am scaffolding. So so that was really great for me to kind of come together and talk about this and kind of realize that it might not be ideal for me right now and ideal for my students, but there are really good things happening. And I feel like, okay, we got this. We can do this remote learning. We can do this.
Everything I do, I have to think about how can this work for all of my kids. And so we're learning, and that's what teachers do, right? We're adapting and we're learning, and we are finding ways to love our jobs again. And even though I'm so excited to move into hybrid, I can still find enjoyment in the remote days.